Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing today? My name is Danni Benson, host and founder of I'm Proud of You Sis. Please like, share, and follow. And of course, comment. My show comes on every Thursday, channel 20 on Optimum channel. So please make sure to view and support. And you can also, my handles, I'm Proud of You Sis. I'm Proud of You Sis. You can find me anywhere on all streaming platforms. I have an amazing guest that I want to give her flowers. Her name is Netanya Lewis, and this woman is amazing. I wanted to give her flowers to let her know what she's doing matters to us all. Netanya Lewis is a board member of V20. She also chairs the Melville Chamber of Commerce. She's an author, coach, speaker, and also helps run her family franchise called Battery Plus, located in Melville Huntington Station in Long Island. And she is a digital marketing agency assisting. She's a digital marketing agency. She has a digital marketing agency, which, you know, we're all on social media right now. And we need someone like her to make sure that what we're posting is actually, you know, showing growth, showing purpose, showing that, you know, followers are coming on, followers are engaging. And she measures that and she advises you what to do and what you shouldn't do, because what we want is not just like posting, but we want followers, we want engagement, in the hopes that what message we're putting out there really matters to who's watching us. So I want to welcome Netanya Lewis to the show. Hi, Netanya. How are you today? Hi. How are you? So what is okay? So I would first of all, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
No, you look beautiful. I wanted to give you your flowers because you're doing all of this and you're only in your 20s.
That's true. That's true.
So I can't even imagine. Well, I can't imagine because your trajectory is on a good trajectory, but you're going to accomplish so much more because you're doing all these things right now and you're managing doing all these things right now. So I first want to ask you, what inspires you?
Okay. Sure. So I would say there's many things that do inspire me. However, I want to say number one is my family. So just like transparent, my dad and my mom, they always were my biggest advocates, right? So they always said that I could do whatever I want, put my mind to it, and I can get it done. So just having that type of support system really helps me. Your dog, wait, you're really helped me just say these are the things that I want for myself. So I would say number one is my family. The second is the potential for generational wealth. So of course, not only am I worried about my trajectory, but also for my family when I decide to have kids and get married and all of those great things. So I want to say my present and as well as my future.
That is definitely good, because how do you feel about your generation's trajectory? Just you're in your 20s. Are you hopeful?
I want to say I am. And not just because my goal is to impact, engage, and influence every generation before and after me. But if you just look at today's climate, right, and the economy and just where we're headed, even if you're just listening to the news, right, and you see everything that's going on, whether that's the protests from like the Palestine and Israel, just like looking at everything from a larger scale, right? I feel like the next generation, they're really vocal about the things that are important and things that matter to them. You know, at the end of the day, you want to stand up for your values, your beliefs, your cultures, etc. So I do have hope for the next generation. And it's important for the next generation to see key or leadership people in those roles and doing the things that they need to do in order to help society move forward. So I have faith in them.
Well, since you mentioned the Palestine thing, and I know all the protesters are all almost all over the country in the colleges. Even like this morning, I went to NYU. That's my alma mater. Hi,
Oh,
I love NYU.
congrats!
But I know they called in for the NYPD to come in and just clear out. And the reason that I like that. Look, I don't want no one getting hurt, like, you know, because other students, Jewish students have the right to come on campus and feel safe. So I'm going to put that out there right now. But our country was built also on protests. Our country was built on, freedom of speech, protest. If we don't like something, we have the right to protest without feeling any type of repercussions, as long as you are protesting peacefully and not harming anyone. Your future generation has a lot going on right now. I feel that they're dealing with inflation because things are more expensive than when I was growing up, for sure. They're dealing with housing. Housing is way more expensive than I remember just growing up before. They're dealing with also careers, job. They're dealing with job, that includes AI. Is that going to, take over? They go to school paying all this money to get a degree. Is AI going to not even take over their jobs? Because I think there still has to have a human factor behind, AI. Yeah. But is it going to lessen, what we can do versus what a machine can do? Because obviously a machine is probably going to be much quicker, even in thinking, than a human. Yeah. And also I hear like a lot of, on my point of view, a lot of kids I talk to says it's harder to have a family of 5. I might have maybe 1 kid. And some of them saying I might not even have a kid because I don't even know how I'm going to afford childcare, which is over the roof. Grocery over the roof. My girlfriend just got a car and her car payment is $700. I was like, I sat there, was like, that's not even including collision, which is another $300. I didn't even know people were paying like $1,000 just for a car payment, because years ago even $500 used to be a lot of money, and now it's like double that. Yeah. What do you see, like, you as a 20-year-old, how do you advise your generation? Like, if you were a speaker at their graduation, what hope would you give them? Just you being out of college for like a couple of years, what hope would you give them to let them know that you're still hopeful?
Sure. So first I'll say I'm 28. just to put it out there.
You look like a baby. I'm 28.
Yes.
I'm like 20. I'm like 20. Okay.
I'm 28. So that's first. I'll also say that I am a graduate from Syracuse University with my BA in economics. So I did do the 4-year thing. Yeah. And then I will say, so I actually spoke yesterday at Nassau County Community College for professional development and also just offering opportunities in careers such as the digital marketing age.
See, I didn't even know that. So that's a great question. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So and I did a speaking engagement last week at 5 Towns College. So it was a panel discussion with the Melville Chamber. However, my dynamic or my target audience is geared towards those individuals that are either recent graduates or moving towards their graduation period. And so the first thing that I would say is, if you have like a religion or a faith, to really keep your eyes on that, right? Like for me personally, Christianity, that's who I am, right? So number one, I put my faith in God. Aside from that, of course, there's always going to be many different factors and variables that's happening around you. That's life. And as you get older, it doesn't get better. You just have to learn how to manage it, right? You also have to manage how much you intake on social media. I have a friend who she's like completely off of social media because it's a lot, especially in today's climate and age where everything is from a click of a button. So you have to be very careful and cognizant about what you are opening yourself up to when you're just going on these social medias. So protect your mental. And then on top of that, mental health is so important and so crucial, especially again in today's climate. There's so many things that we're able to see in an instant, and it's like, you just have to make sure that you're taking care of your mental capacity and what you're able to manage. And then just, I guess the hope is to know that no matter what's going on around you, because you are still here today, you have purpose, right? And then that goes into my tagline of when I do operate as a motivational speaker, that every person, that you are important, you are necessary, you are needed, right? Your dreams matter, your goals matter, your vision matters, your life matters. So really, despite of what everything else is going on around you, just try to continue to build, help out when you can, volunteer when you can, try to make it a better world. It doesn't hurt to be kind, right? It doesn't hurt to stand up for somebody else. It doesn't hurt to put yourself in a position where you're able to help other people. So that would be my hope, I guess, or my tidbit of advice, is to continue to go after your future, continue to find your purpose and walk into that, especially as we come up with the election. Stay informed, get into those places where you're able to be the decision maker or influence the decision maker. I feel like a lot of the times, the reason why we got into where we are now is part of complacency. Everyone says, oh, my vote doesn't matter, but it does. Everyone says, if I do this, if I go to a rally, or if I protest, or if I sit back, it doesn't matter. But it's incorrect, right? Your voice, every voice matters. So I would say really get out there. However, also really focus and identify what you want for yourself and what you want for your country, your community, your society, and then start making actionable steps to make those things happen.
I love, especially when you said that, social media sometimes is consuming your mental every single day. So I'm that person. I'm that person that I'm in and out. I'm just, if I post, I'm in the post, and I'm just out. I am complete. Everyone's like, wait, you didn't see what was going on in my life. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to have time to see what's going on in your life. I'm going to pick up the phone and find out what's going on.
There
in
you
your life.
go.
And I'm not going to use social media to find out what's going on in your life. Because what happens is I start getting addicted to the scroll. Once I'm checking one, I'm checking the other. Then in between that, I'm seeing violence here, violence there, this, and I'm just like, no. This is too much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I don't even understand how little children do it. That's why, like with my kids, it's like you have it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's it. They cry for it, like they're addicted to it. And I'm like, look, I'm your mom. I'm going to do what's best for you. You don't understand. But too much consuming of information is going to bring you to a space of depression, only because it's just, I feel like you just get more negative news and good news, and you just consume into it. That it does pull you into this to thinking that the world is more negative than positive.
Exactly.
But I tell people all the time, there's a lot of positive things going on in the world, but because it's clickbait, people like to see negative, because people like to chime into the negative, but because positive is boring to people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Being a good person is boring to people. Doing the right thing, people say that's boring. I want to see drama. I want to see trauma. I want to. So I'm hopefully, I'm praying that we get to a space where we go back to our lives because I know so many people who just hold that phone to dear life and can't like cannot be on their phone for like even 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So then how do you do it? Like, okay, you're part of the, are you Generation Z? Are you Gen Z?
I have no idea. I feel like I'm in the middle of, what is it? I don't think it's generational Z.
No, there's no.
I think I'm a millennial. I believe I'm a millennial.
No, because you're 29.
28.
You're
Whoa.
28. Okay, when's your birthday? When's your birthday?
October 22nd. Yeah, I'll be 29 this year, but I still have a few months, so I'm 28.
Wait till you get to your 30s.
Oh my god!
Honestly, it gets better.
That's what I heard. So we'll see.
It gets better. I'm telling you, like the wisdom that you collect as you get older, you wish you can go back to use it when you were younger. Okay. You know, so like everyone's like afraid of. I'm not gonna say everyone. I'm not afraid of getting older because I just embrace like the information that I get to have. But I'm blessed to have children where even if I can't be younger, I'm gladly proud to be able to pass my wisdom to them, whether they want to listen to me or not. So your parents did a great job on you, and I'm happy they were your advocates, because sometimes kids do need your support, and just to know that they're loved and their support. So even if they fail, that they know that their parents will still have their back, because sometimes kids don't like to take risk because they don't know who's going to catch them. Yeah. So at least I know that your parents were your advocates, because advocacy means that they're catching you. Whether you take that risk and you fail, they're always going to have your back.
And then I just want to say, just really quickly, like, so for those people that may not have the family dynamic, right? Failing period means that you're going forward in some capacity, right? So just because you're failing doesn't mean it's the end all be all. So for those that maybe it's a test that you failed, maybe it's a certification that you didn't pass, in any capacity, you can always bounce back. You can always try again, and nothing is final, right? Everything is always ever changing. Everything is always evolving. Nothing stays the same. So I just want to put that out there for a moment.
No, you're right. And what I remember I read this book called Who Moved My Cheese. Was one of the best books that I ever read. And it's basically about change, and change is constant. Yeah. And it's like a little read. I recommend anyone who has a hard time with change to read this book. It basically says change is not going to wait for you. Yeah. Like change is still going to change. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's still changing. Like you don't have no control over change. Nope. You know, so sometimes people want to hold on to things, and sometimes it's easier just to let it go, because guess what? Life is going to let it go. And you holding on to it doesn't mean that it's not going to let go itself. Like you can't let it go, but it's letting go, meaning like it's changing. Yeah. Regardless, right? Just like a perfect example is daylight savings time, right? Mm-hmm. We know it's coming. We love the light outside. We know it's going to be dark at 4 o'clock. We can't control it. It's still going to happen, right? But some people will hold on to it. But I want it to be light. I want it to be light. And change is still happening. Whether you want it to be light doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's still going to go back forward, and it's going to be 4 p.m. So the book talks about how do you deal with the change? Okay. What makes you successful going forward? Awesome. Do you accept it and find a different grind, or do you hold on to the past and just be stuck? But being stuck sometimes, and I tell people being stuck sometimes, you slowly are decaying, because the times are moving. And if you're not moving too, you stand still here, but it doesn't really matter. So for anyone out there who has issues with change, I would say, please read the book, Who Moved My Cheese. It's like 100-page quick read, but it's an excellent book to deal with like the changing world, the changing of everything. So what are some misconceptions about your field? So you have different hats that you do. So let's talk about being an author. Okay. The first book that you've authored. Let's talk about that first.
Okay. So the first book that I published, it is called I Am A. It's a children's book. So I'll back up a little bit. So my tagline, or what my purpose is, I mentioned it before, but it's to impact, engage, and influence every generation before and after me, right? So because it's every generation, we have the three. We have the babies, we have our cohort, and then we have our seniors. So for my younger generation, or the babies, I created a children's book, and the children's book, it basically just exemplifies and says that you are important, you are necessary, you are needed. So follow your dreams, follow your goals. It's entitled I Am A, and then it has two subsections. So it's I Am a Princess and I Am a Prince. Yeah.
I love that. And what is the book? So when it says I Am A, what is the book about? Like, what is the main idea of the book? Like, what theme that you're trying to convey to the
Sure.
audience?
So the theme of the book is really just going after these goals, right? So you have your parents that you're looking up to, and they're taking like this little girl and this little boy through different life experiences. So whether that's voting, right? Whether that's going to the park and making a decision, maybe that's going to the kitchen and making some type of dinner or anything like that. So it's just different it's a short book. So it's just like little situations, little scenarios where the kid is looking up to the adult or the parent figure and just getting help, right? And then the parent exemplifying this role of like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So that's the theme, or the little synopsis of it.
And you know what? Some people might feel like that theme is so corny. Like you could do anything you put your mind to, but I feel like there's a secret to it. I feel that if you think it and you put actions behind it,
Mhm.
I feel that in my life it's happened. Like anytime that I say I'm going to do something, if I put the work, I tell my kids, you got to put the work. It's not like a magic trick. Like you say, I want this and it's just going to appear. There has to be work behind it. You have to do actionable steps behind it. It's not just you say it and it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But I do believe in most circumstances that if you really do put your dreams in motion,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say that you're not going to experience any failure, but I feel like it is obtainable.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I have so many hats. My parents, they invested time and their energy and resources on me, and just their words of wisdom. So by them, during COVID, that's when I started my agency and when I wrote my children's book, and I did become a realtor for a season in my life. But all of those were instilled first off of a thought. And then from there, you write down the actionable steps, like you mentioned. And from there, you keep working at it. For example, with real estate, I was like, all right, I want to be a realtor for commercial real estate. I loved it. It was a great season in my life. However, the first time I did take the test, I failed. So all you have to do is modify those steps and then try again. However, the first thing that happened was it became a thought. So it's really whatever you could put your mind to and then create those goals after. You got it.
Definitely got it. So how did your family get into this fan what am I what's wrong with
Franchise.
fan try how did they get into this franchise? What is wrong with me today? Called Battery Plus. It's located. I would say Melville, South Huntington. What would you say? Because it's like kind of like the border.
I like to just say it's right across from the Walt Whitman Mall on 110. Okay. That's all I say.
Got it.
However, so Batteries Plus, it's a retail storefront that is located in Long Island. There's a second location now. However, we were the only location based in Long Island for 2 or 3 years. We sell everything from boat batteries, car batteries, truck batteries, key fobs, car key replacements, everything. The way that it got started, so how you mentioned generational wealth. So my dad, he was really big on that. And he really wanted to make sure that he allowed that opportunity for his family. So I want to say maybe about because my dad, he actually transitioned. He passed away about 3 years ago now. However, like I want to say a few months before, like before he was getting sick again, we were really looking at different streams of revenue. What do we want to do? Do we want to do a Chick-fil-A? Like, what do we want to do? Do we want to do a Cracker Barrel? But there's no Cracker Barrels in Long Island. But whatever. So
you know what? They should be. They should be, but they're
they should. I don't know why. And I just personally, I really like Cracker Barrel, but I digress. So anyway, so he had a really great experience in Virginia. And then because my family, they're mostly in Virginia. And then towards the end of his transition, he kind of signed the lease. And then he left this like large project with us. So it's me, my mom, and my brothers, and my brother's wife managing this store when we do not have any franchise or business ownership, any real capacity experience. So it has been a roller coaster, to say the least. However, we finally got the catch of it, or got the gist of it. However, it really started from my dad's idea, right? Because he had an idea first, and then just executing it, making the actionable steps in order to acquire this thing, and then leaving it into our hands, for us to figure it out. But that's really how it started. He really wanted to create an opportunity for his children and his wife and everything like that.
And so with your dad giving you guys this opportunity to see how you can start a franchise, would you ever open other franchises? I don't know why I'm not saying this word right. I'm like tongue-tied today. Franchise, like I got a syllable. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me today? Okay.
It's okay. Me personally, I would not, just because it's different, like, so franchise, it's your business, but it's not, it's not like my digital marketing agency where I can make any change that I want. Like I'm the top,
You're the CEO, you're the founder.
Exactly.
You own the baby.
Yes. I own the baby.
Yes.
With a franchise, you're like a manager. You're a manager, like you still have the capacity where you can do everything you want. However, there are of course some things that you have to get clearance from, so it's just like, it's like a partnership. So it's just a different process, or a different way of interaction when it comes to your business. So instead of you making your own ideas from jump, of course you just have like regular regulations, guidelines, etc. So I mean, me personally, I'm good. I'm good. And then also, like, batteries are heavy, so it's a lot, but it's okay. It's created a great relationship and a closer relationship with my family, because now we're all in this process of learning and relearning, right? So my economics degree, so the things that I know about that is coming into play. Victor's management is coming into play. My mom's HR is coming into play. So it's all of us figuring out the pieces of this puzzle and then putting it all together to make Batteries Plus and Huntington.
I mean, you know what? That is a beautiful thing. But when you have children, what would be your idea of generational wealth?
So I'm not sure. So I will say one thing that I'm, I guess, nervous about, right? So you said, what advice or hope would I give the next generation? So I also get like nervous, right? What does the future hold if I was to have kids? How safe are they really? So I have those concerns also. So if I was to have children, find a husband, all that jazz. I'll say when I find a husband.
And you know what? I have to say this because the times are changing now, that I know our parents expected us to get married, expected us to have kids and all this other stuff, but it's changing now. It's okay if you don't get married. It's okay if you don't have kids. People are in their 50s, 60s still having the time of their lives. It's not how it used to be back in the day that by 35 you were old goose. Because I'll go to lounges and stuff and see 50-year-old people still having the best time of their life. So your life doesn't stop at, I remember it was 35 was like, oh my God, you're old. No, you know, I think 50 is basically the new 40, 35, to be honest with you, because I don't think they ever want to get old, right?
Yeah.
So I just want the audience to understand that the parameters that our parents put on us and their parents put on them, I feel that no longer exists. You can do whatever you want to do to make you happy. If you don't want to have kids, it's fine. If you don't want to get married, it's fine. If you want to just be in a committed relationship, it's fine. You know, so I didn't want to put you on the spot because I don't know what you want. I don't know if you really want to get married or have kids.
And I don't know either.
Thank you.
I know I definitely want a husband. I definitely want the vacations and flying. I definitely want all those things. However, with kids, I might have to have like a 24/7 nanny or something to consider it. To consider, that's what I need. That's my boundary. However, for that generational wealth, I do want to say that I see myself passing that to them if that is something that I eventually do, and I would probably do that through real estate. You know, I am getting to a place where I'm looking to expand my portfolio, which is exciting. And then I would probably also do that, like if my digital marketing agency is self-sufficient in a way where I don't have to be the operating manager of it every single day, that'll probably be a piece of it. So I mean, there's a few things that I'm thinking about. However, I haven't thought about it in that capacity necessarily just yet.
No, I completely understand. But let's talk about the digital marketing agency that you have and like the service that you provide for your customer, because digital marketing right now is so important, especially if you have a brand, a product, or service on social media, because they basically help you handle that to the point where you're not just posting and you're not getting any return. You know, what you do, you're the expert of how you do get the return, how you do get the followers, how you do get more exposure in an area that there's so many people posting at the same time. There's probably like 1 million posts per second. Yeah. So what is your agency? First of all, what is the name of your agency, and what does your agency provide for the audience that are looking at the show right now and beyond?
Sure. So I would say my agency is called I Am DMA. So that just stands for I Am Digital Marketing Agency. Under that, I have different subsections. So I have a designated website designer, a designated social media manager, designated social media marketer. I am looking to hire. So just in case anyone is interested, I am looking for interns. However, what I mainly focus on is really managing small and local boutique businesses, whether that's like management owned or small business ownership, and really learning what those needs of those businesses are and how to either leverage or capitalize their needs and transfer that into applicable, I guess, like an applicable perspective where people can actually gain or add value to their business. So whether that's focusing on their KPI, so their key performance indicators, or whether that's focusing on customer engagement, more viewership, return on investment, so bringing customers into your actual physical store. So those are some of the key components that I focus on.
So let me put it out there. Give all the while we're talking about your business, give out all your handles of where people can find you if they're interested of you, if they're interested of you running their business or helping them with the digital with their digital, like what do you call it, digital real estate. I call it real estate because I think that every person's page is their personal real estate. It's their name, it's their spot. You could find them. Yeah. So that's just the way I look at it, because you know it's so crazy. I even did a digital real estate for my kids. They're not on Instagram yet, but I took over their name, so in hopes that when they get older, then if they want their name, someone else hasn't gotten their names already.
Well, that's so funny. So my dad, that's cool. It's a very smart idea. So my dad, he made us do that with our email accounts. So like my email is miss.natanyalewis@gmail.com. But like I've had that since I was maybe about 10. And I didn't use it until I was maybe in high school, but I think that that's such a great idea. It's smart. It's very smart.
You know what else I did too, which people, when my kids were born, so my kids had their emails when they were born.
Okay.
So what I did was, I actually, like, any moment I had or anything that was going on that day, I actually emailed them because I wanted a chronological order. So when I eventually give them their email address, they can go back to when they were little and
Oh,
just know every single day I sent a note to them. I was like, oh my God, you made me laugh today, Mo. So it's like
that's
every time I look at it, I have
beautiful.
shivers because they're gonna be 11 years old, and I can actually look at their emails and see the story of them growing. And
That
I
is
know,
so sweet.
oh, I know they're gonna be like, "What in the hell of this?" And I did it honestly, just in case if anything ever happened to me.
Mhm.
I always wanted to be a memory to them, and I wanted them to know how much I love them. I didn't want people to tell them how much I love them. I wanted them to know from me because it's actually my voice and all the emails. So it's crazy how kids grow. It's a beautiful thing. But I advise parents out there, definitely do an email address for your kids and just leave little messages for them of love and care and everything. Because look how you just glowed because your dad did that for you. You should have saw your face. You were like, oh my God, and my father did an email for me when I was 10. Like who thinks of things like this? You know who
Yeah.
thinks of things like this? Parents who love their kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know that one day my baby's not going to be a baby anymore. Look at you. I know your parents are so proud.
Thank you.
I know your parents are so proud of you, like, because everything that they poured into you, you've taken that and made something out of it. So I know and that's why I'm so proud of you, sis. I got to put that hint in there. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, sis. So give all your handles right now as we continue the conversation for people who are trying to find you, getting to know you. And where do you speak and how do you are able to speak? And you have coaching in there. Do you coach kids? Because you are a terrific mentor. I don't even know if you realize that yet, but you are a terrific mentor.
Thank you.
So how would anyone who's watching the show definitely like get in touch with you?
Sure. So I'll say for my website, it's www.netanyalewis.com. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Mhm.
And then for my Instagram, it is Nay, NAY_ARIEL.
It's like he read your mind, right?
Thank you. And then what else will I say? And then in order to get in contact with me, I mean, my email is attached to that. I have my phone with me, like it's my life. So I always have my phone. So shoot me an email. I'm always open to opportunities and collaborating with other like-minded individuals, especially when it comes to building up and really assisting our next generation, right? As they grow professionally and career-wise and just personally. So that's something that I am definitely open to. And yeah.
So you opened up with the importance of how important your faith is to you. Because I realized that before you said anything else, you was like, I love God. I'm a Christian. So explain to me, how has God been or Christianity has been an important part of your life?
Okay.
And
so
how has it helped you through the worst times of your life?
Okay. All right. So that's a great question. So I will say that I was born in the church, like not literally. However, my dad, he was a pastor. My mom, she's an elder in the church. So I have always been in some capacity involved in church and in ministry and something like that. When I say ministry, not anything too deep, just like with communications and the media at my church. So I would say that's where that comes from. And then I want to say through my faith has evolved, and I want to say more recently, when you go through times where it's like you feel like you have no one to depend on, and then something happens or you ask for a sign and it happens, you think like that, like, how did that happen? An example that I will give is, and this is transparent. So when I was younger, before, prior to going to Syracuse University, I went to a different school. That school, I ended up ultimately getting kicked out of that school. So when I was kicked out of that school, I ended up on probation. I wasn't able to go to any other institution for X amount of years. And for me, that was the lowest point in my life. And for me, it was like, how do you bounce back from that? So, of course, in that season, if you're not going to, at that age, if you're not going to school, what are you doing? So, and my parents, they weren't the strictest. However, I was definitely not someone that was outside. Like, I was definitely someone inside. So I would just be writing and writing and writing. And then one day I got, I guess, revelation, and revelation in the sense of, I know what I did was wrong, but I can't let this be the end all of my life and who I am and what I want to become, you know? So I was just writing. That's where I am came from. It was I affirm myself. So that's where that name comes from. And then where I was in that situation, I didn't feel like my life mattered. So that's where the tagline, I remember I was at Planet Fitness. I was like laying down on the massage chair, just like typing, like, what am I going to do? So that's where I am came from. And then it was like, I affirm myself. And then the tagline was, I am important, I am necessary, I am needed. But then I was like, it's probably, I'm not the only person that has ever gone through this. Someone else has probably gone through a different situation, maybe not this exact circumstance, but somewhere along the lines, because no one is perfect, someone has messed up somewhere. So then that's where I changed it or flipped it to, you are important, you are necessary, you are needed. And then after that, like, then this is not me thinking, right? There's no way that me at 18 years old is thinking this deep and intricately about this whole plan. There's just no way. I was supposed to be, or I wanted to be, a broadcast journalist. Like, there's no way. So then that's where the next thing kind of came, where it doesn't matter what you've been through or what you've done. At the end of the day, you are important, you are necessary, you are needed. Your dreams matter, your goals matter, your future matters, your life matters. Because I was in a position or a circumstance where I felt like my life didn't matter. The people around me, they didn't care about me, except for like my core four. So it's just like you, when you're in these situations where it's either you have to grow or you're going to stay stagnant, and then somewhere on the inside you get like this hope or this sense of, I have more that I have to give to the world before I leave. Mm-hmm. That's where my faith comes in. And then like every situation that I've been in, I'm someone that's a little bit hard-headed. So every situation that I've been in, I'd be like, God, if this is you, show me this. And then it'll happen. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm in alignment, divine alignment. So I want to say that's where my faith plays, especially now. And then the last thing that I'll say is, so I had a really great family dynamic, right? So I had mom, dad, the fence, the backyard, the dog, the brother. Like, I've had the perfect life in a sense, right? So when you lose the patriarch of your family, there's a whole different dynamic that occurs, right? So no longer are you not focused, but dependent on your dad, but it's like, who do I depend on? Like I have my mom, you know, that's cool, but it's just a different type of safety and protection that you feel when you have your dad. Mm-hmm. So then losing him, I was like, well, cool, I have brothers, I have family, etc., but it's different, you know. So then no longer am I looking at the physical, but I'm looking at like my heavenly father, right? So I may not have my physical dad anymore, but I still have someone that I can go to, someone I can confide in, someone that can instill and impart into me wisdom when I really need it. So that's the last thing that I'll say. But yeah, that's where my faith comes in.
So faith basically got you through.
Exactly. Yes, always.
Because you could have been at the moment, because there's two folds to it. When sometimes you're at your deepest, mm-hmm. and you're in so much pain that sometimes you think about, like, this pain is too overwhelming. I don't know if I can move on. I don't know if I could do this. Like, or how long is this pain going to last? You know, like, is this going to be a forever thing? Is my life is going to be affected forever by this decision? And that's when you have to make that choice in your mind. Mm-hmm. Like, anytime people fail, because we've all have failed, I know when people say I have no regrets, I have a couple of regrets. You know, I can't even say like I have no, and I get it. There's like everything is a chain reaction. Like if that didn't happen, how you know you would be here today, because you don't know what the chain reaction is of, like if you take one chain reaction out, you don't know if that one change changes everything else, right? So sometimes people say you have to just accept everything. But what I have to say is having faith really keeps you it brings you to another level, because the reason I say it brings you to another level is because it's the fact that you're ready to give up, but something in your mind tells you no, it's not your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And something in your mind tells you it's okay. Like, meaning that when you mess up, you hear everyone saying you mess up, you mess up. But it's like the feeling of when you have faith, someone is saying, okay, it's okay. We all mess up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that this is the end of your life. Like, this is the end of it. Like, you're going to have to pull yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm. And then what I was also going to say is, in a sense, and I feel like I've started to understand this as I get older, our trials and tribulations and the things that we go through, it's not for ourselves, right? It's for the other people. It's for the other people that we have to impact. It's for the other people that we have to give advice to. You know, everything that I went through in my past, it's not for me. You know, so in a way, it's selfish of me to want to hide this part of my life just because I'm embarrassed, because I have some regrets. Okay, but what about the next generation? What about the next girl or the next guy who makes that same mistake? However, they feel like they can't get over it. Now they have people that they can look up to, right? That say, I got over it. You can get over it too. So that's also what I like to like add on. And one of my friends at the time, she told me, and this was before, because I have a second book right that I'm in process of. However, I haven't published it yet. I'm waiting for my following to get a little bigger. However, she told me that you don't know the lives that you are not saving by keeping your story private. You know? So you don't know the people that need to hear your story in order to survive. You know, so that's another thing that I always think about. I'm like, yeah, that was an embarrassing time. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, but if it's saving somebody's life,
talk about it. You know, I call it a testimony.
Exactly.
I feel like my life is a testimony. So when I talk about God and I talk about the love of God, it's only because I've known that He's pulled me through things that I didn't even think that I could get pulled through. Exactly. Like, I never thought I could see the other side of it. Mm-hmm. And that's why it is good to share your story, to tell other people, like, there is another side. Look at me. You know, I went through this, but look at me now. I'm whole now. Mm-hmm. So I don't want you to define your current situation as your whole situation.
Exactly.
And that's what sometimes we do, especially like in our younger years. We think our current situation is our whole situation. Mm-hmm. And it's not our whole situation. It's just a blip. It's really just a blip of time throughout our whole lifetime. Like, we see our mistakes as forever, but in our whole lifetime, it's probably like an inch, because we're constantly moving, right? So we think like it's like our whole lifetime, but it's not. And I try to tell kids all the time that don't make a decision over a temporary emotion.
Exactly.
Because failure is really a temporary emotion. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I mean? And sometimes we make decisions that temporary emotion becomes sometimes a forever emotion. Mm-hmm. Because we're using that feeling as to justify what we're doing. But whether we're justifying what we're doing is right or wrong, if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And the pain doesn't justify you doing that. And that's to say, you know, like, you know, the school shootings, like anything that you're going through in life, just understand that it's very painful, but we have to find a way to like push through. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's a pushing through that will be your testimony. It's a pushing through, because sometimes it's easy to give up, right? It's easy to be in your sadness forever, but we're here for a purpose.
Exactly.
We're here for a purpose, and that failure is part of our purpose. And that's what I tell my kids all the time. Like if they fail a test, I'm like, no, but that's part of your purpose, because it's gonna bring something out of you that you probably would have not gotten out of if you didn't fail the test.
Yeah, or that you didn't know was what if you didn't know what was inside of you.
Yeah, you're right, because it pulls out. You're stronger than you think that you. That's the saying. You are stronger than you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't know your strength until you go through trials.
Yep.
You know, because my dad also died, and he was our patriarch, and whew, Lord, like I miss him so much. I'm so fortunate that I had a father in my life, so I know how you feel. Because certain people might not know how we feel, because it doesn't mean that the relationship we had with my dad, I had it with my dad, you had your dad, you had with your dad. Some people might not be able to relate because they might not have that connection with their father. You know what I mean? But losing him, I could relate to you, because losing my father was just, I miss his hard knock life advice to me. Like, you know, my mom is great. My mom is like, was more the nurturer, but my dad was like, he would tell me like it is. Like I needed those voices.
That's exactly what it is. Like my dad, he was the guy that gave me the truth, but he also coupled it with advice, and then coupled it with hope. And it was just like the perfect package in the way he delivered. And then he was also like my hero, right? So he supported me, and my family, they did too, and they do too. But it's just different. I don't know how to explain. It's just different. It's just like a daddy's girl. That's it. It's just a daddy's girl thing.
Like, you know what it is? It is just like a mama's boy. Like I'll never get to understand what that relationship is, because, you know, I don't have a son. Mm-hmm. So, but I hear, you know, that term mama's boy more than girl dad, you know, because he's a mama's boy. He's a mama's boy. But it's like you just have special relationships with different segments of your family that is irreplaceable.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm here to tell you right now that your dad would be super, super proud of you, because he left maps in you. He left wisdom in you, and you're actually using that to get through your day-to-day life. Because I know your dad is not here physically, but I'm telling you right now, he's there spiritually. Yeah, like if you call on your dad, he will come. Like I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes my mom or my dad will leave little messages for me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but it happens to me. Like I'll be thinking about something, and they leave me messages of hope. Mm-hmm. Like D, you got this. Like we're here. You can't see us, but we see you. And I know it might sound crazy, but
no,
I do feel their presence. I do feel their presence. And I you know, and I tell my little daughters, like, little things that I'm going to try to do, because I won't be here forever. I had to have this conversation with them, and they were like, what?
Oh
no. Yeah, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, was because they love me so much. They're so attached to me. I'm always like their cheerleader, everything like that. And I said, I had to have that conversation. Like one day, I just want you to understand, mommy's not going to be here. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we don't live forever.
I don't think my parents have ever had that conversation with me. That's a hard conversation to have.
It's a hard conversation to have, because I don't ever want them to think that I abandoned them. Because sometimes, like, I used to thank God I'm older, but I used to be like, Dad, you abandoned me. Like, why'd you leave? But I had to explain to them it's a cycle of life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the leaves, like they're like, Mommy, look at the leaves again. I'm like, yep, that's what happens. Like things die and things come alive again. You know, it's like, it's just see, you know what I told them? And this is why I told you it's important to just understand what change is going to happen regardless. Because even if I don't have the conversation, I'm not going to be here anyway. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So two of the most conversations I've had that my parents didn't have with me, it was death and sex. Like everyone's just like, you're talking about, you know, like, you know, it's a hard thing for me to do at 10 years old, but they're starting to get the hormonal thing. And I'm like, oh my, I was
Oh,
like, wow,
that
I
was
got mine at
fast.
13. I got mine at 13. What do you want me to talk about? But I'm at that stage. I mean, they still don't like boys. They think boys are yucky. But I had to, someone told me, like, girl, don't be like your parents. You're going to have the conversation because they're going to get it from the internet anyway. See, the difference is we didn't have the internet. So now it's like what I do with my children is I have to beat the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know,
I gotcha.
I had to, and that's why I don't know if you want to be a mom because it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like the things that you have to teach your children that our parents kept from us. Like I lived in a bubble for a long time.
Okay.
And these kids, my kids are not in a bubble. They're 10 and they know, I'm like, they saying things to me and I'm like, what? Like, so what are your future aspirations? I know that you say you're going to write, you're in the process of writing another book. I don't think that you should wait until you get your followers.
You don't?
No, I think your peoples will find you. I think whatever is meant for you to do, you just do it, and you don't do it based on like who's following you, who's watching you, because you want to know why? There's that person that's waiting for the book.
Now you sound like my friend.
I don't even know your friend.
You sound like my friend.
I don't know your friend, but I think there's a person waiting for that book. So instead of you waiting to get like 10,000 followers or whatever and thinking about the masses, my hope is that I just change one person's life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just, I can't think about the masses. I can't think about the followers. I can't think about all of that. I only have to think about whose life did I need to save today? What message do I need to save today to save today to save the life? So if you do have a book, please write it. You want to know why? Life is too short.
You're right.
You understand? Right. Like life is too short. You don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Like I'm talking to you now and the next day, boom, I'm not here. And that was one of the things I had to put in my reality that, change and your death date, you don't know. Which breaks my heart sometimes because I wish I could ask God, when is my death date? But I don't think God lets anybody know their death date.
Oh.
Which is so crazy because it doesn't mean I'm going to live to 100, but I ask God every day, please, let me live. Please, God. I don't care if I'm old. I don't care if I can't walk.
And I ask God every day, please. That's funny.
No, I be talking to God. I know we got to wrap it up soon. Like I talk to God like he is like my friend. Like he knows me. He knows me. I'd be like, God, come on, what's up? Like, come on, like, let's make this happen already. I know you got your time, but yo, come on, God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because now my kids have a relationship with God like that too. Because they used to always ask me, Mommy, who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm talking to God. They're like, what do you mean? Like, don't you have to do this? I'm like, no, I don't have to do this and kneel and all this other stuff. I talk to him like he's my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's my father. I don't got to do this to my dad. I could talk to, hey, Dad, I need you now. And Dad comes. So I just, you know what it is? I just wanted to teach my children that God is always with you and always around you. And you don't have to have a specific time to pray. You don't have to go to church to pray because people might not like that I say this, but I don't need a middleman when I talk to my parents. So I always feel like I never needed a middleman to talk to God. Do you understand what I mean? Like when I say he's my father, I don't need someone in the middle. Like that's saying, okay, I have to go to this pastor. I have to go to the church. I get it. My friend says in the Bible, it says you have to all commune together. I get that part, but I always wanted my kids to know that God is just a prayer away, a talk away. You say, God, I need you. He's there. Yeah. Just so they can have that confidence. Like if I'm not here and they're begging God, like, God, please get me through this pain. I'm like, I just want you to know that he hears you and you don't have to go someplace so he can hear you. He hears you right now. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I'm proud of you, sis. I am so proud of you. And just give your handles one more time before we wrap up because I know we're getting to that time.
Okay, sure. So my website is www.netanyalewis.com And then my Instagram is Nay, NAY_ARIEL.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm proud of you, sis, and see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.